Hey there all you good people, I'm Joe from Joe's Computer Museum. Today I'm reviewing the Ramworks III VGA Extender from A2Heaven. We'll show the installation, all of the video modes, and how it stacks up to a good old TV. Warm up the CRT, it's time for another episode. Before we begin, I want to note that today is a very special day. It happens to be the birthday of the Apple Macintosh computer. The Mac was born 32 years ago today, on January 24, 1984. This Mac here happens to date from one of those early batches, has a date code of March of 1984. Well, at least the front half of it does anyway. You can take a look at the computer in my computer museum, and I will leave a link down there in the description somewhere to that. And I'll do an exhibition of this in a future video. Happy birthday, little Mac. Now let's get back to the demo. Before we talk about the video card, we have to talk a bit about the card it attaches to, and that's the Ramworks III card by Applied Engineering. It was one of the most popular memory expansion cards for the Apple II series. It added up to 3 megabytes of memory using its clever memory expansion modules. Memory could be used with applications aware of the card like AppleWorks, or as a RAM disk for speeding up the computer significantly. Also available was the Digital Prism RGB option, a daughter board that converted the raw video bit stream into a digital video output, giving a clear, high-resolution color display. But that's not why you're here. You want to see the goodies. This is the Ramworks III VGA Extender from A2Heaven. A2Heaven is a one-man shop run by Plamen Voisilov from Bulgaria. Apologies, Plamen, if I butchered your name. His card is a spiritual successor of the RGB daughter board. It uses the same mount point and signals to generate a display, but outputs a VGA signal, allowing you to connect just about any LCD monitor to the Apple II. It also has 6 different display modes, for all you scanline junkies out there. But enough of me droning on. Let's get wrist deep in some hardware. Well, here it is. This is the Ramworks III VGA Extender by A2Heaven. Pretty neat little device. I want to zoom in on that little chip right there, the X-Links card, or Xilinx, or I don't know how the hell that thing's pronounced. That's just a custom programmable chip that allows you to, design whatever logic you want to design there. And he's used that to basically take the information, off the pins here that comes off the Applied Engineering card to sync up the VGA signal. And, or sync up the video signal and display that out the VGA port there. VGA port there, pretty cool. Here are some dip switches. Those dip switches are basically used to define the startup mode of the card, which you can see those listed there. He puts the sticker right there on that, distribution. He usually sticks it right about there. And that allows you to know, what default mode settings you want to set that guy up to. The thing also comes with this little guy here, a little momentary push switch there that you plug into the card right here, and you can route this outside of the machine so that after the machine is up, you can actually select the different video modes you want. If you want it, mono green, mono white, TV color, so on and so forth. You press that switch, and it just it cycles through those video modes there. Now here is the Ramworks III card. Mine sadly doesn't have a lot of RAM on it, but that's all good. This guy attaches to the rear back plane. Or rear part of the back plane right here, and we'll go ahead and install that real quick so that you can see how that works. This might take me a moment. I'm doing this through the viewfinder, so give me just a second. There we go. Goes right on there like that. Pretty super easy cake. Now we'll do a quick jump cut, and I'll show you putting it in the machine. Installation is really rather dirt simple. You basically just take the card combo and pop it into the aux connector on your Apple IIe. Pop it right in there. And that's really all there is to it. Then you can take your VGA cable, which we show right there, and it goes on the back here. Now, if you're smart, You'll purchase ahead of time a VGA header that can go from this out to, one of the back panel connectors or back panel headers of the Apple IIe, and then you can actually plug your VGA cable directly into the back of the Apple. Now that we have it installed, let's take a look at the card in action. Well, would you look at that? They say you're not a true nerd unless you got a quad monitor setup. Yeah, whatever. So I just really quickly wanted to show you what the video looks like on 4 different monitors. The 2 on the left are the VGA monitors coming out of the VGA adapter, and the 2 on the right are obviously composite. Top left is an LCD, bottom left is a CRT, top right, good old-fashioned green monochrome. And the bottom right, which is really bright and washed out, and I apologize for that, that is a good old-fashioned Philips 13-inch television. I just wanted to show these side by side so you can get an idea of what the video quality was like. Let me see if I can play with the white balance a little bit so you can see what this looks like on different monitors. So that's about accurate for the TV there. As you can see, the blue is kind of like a sky blue, and the red is, the floor is like a reddish orange. And yeah, there's the colors there of that screen. The dark blue, blue and black mixed color. I always like the colors of the TV better than anything else because they tend to, or to me, they seem more vibrant and more accurate. Here's the CRT. For a kind of a comparison there. Change the level on that a little bit so you can kind of see side by side. The CRT is a little bit more washed out. The colors are a little bit more flat than the TV, and I don't believe the color representation is quite right. The blues aren't the classic sky blue color that you see on the TV. It's more of an actual like true RGB flat, just normal blue. And that, I think, is just a little bit of an artifact of the actual color that they decided to use as blue for the VGA output. They could have picked any color, but that's the color that they picked for that. Most of the other colors are accurate. Some of the pinks are a little bit off sometimes, too. Let's focus on the LCD monitor here a little bit. There we go. And you see the color values are about the same as the CRT monitor below it. So now that we've taken a look at that, let's look at the video output up super duper close so you can see the quality of the output from the VGA card. Now that we're up close, let's take a look at the entire thing from the boot sequence. Now this is the color mode. And I wanted to show that up real close so you could see some of the color patterning that you get on the screen there. You can tell that around the white stuff, around the white pixels, that there's some very hard colored pixels. Now, this is just an artifact of the way that the Apple II works and how it has to generate pixels on the screen. And of course, because this is VGA and it's showing the pixels in super, super high resolution, you don't get a lot of that screen blur that you get from a television that helps blur out some of that color. So as you can see around that white text there, some of that's pretty sharp. Next, I wanted to show you 40 column text mode to show you how clear the screen comes out there. I mean, that's pretty good. You can see individual pixels in the letters. They're super clear. There's no blur or distortion. Yeah, so I'm pretty impressed with that. So let's take a look now at 80 column text mode. Now here's 80 column text mode, pretty much the same news as 40 column text mode. Looks super clear. You can see individual pixels, very little blurring or anything in that. So yeah, it does the text modes pretty well. But the next thing I want to show you is double high resolution graphics in monochrome mode on Apple II desktop. Let's take a look at that. Here's the card switched to monochrome mode. just the regular black and white mode under Apple II Desktop. And one of the big things you'll notice here is the banding. There's some sort of clock drift issue that's happening on this LCD monitor. Before I did this demo, and when I noticed this issue, I actually tried 4 different LCD monitors, got the same problem on LCDs, but I didn't get it on CRT monitors, and I'll show you that next. Now here's that exact same output on a CRT monitor. Aside from, the refresh scan glitch you got there, you can tell there is no vertical banding whatsoever. So the clocking is working on a CRT monitor. I also tried this on one other CRT monitor before the demo, and it worked on the other CRT monitor too. So that's kind of weird. I'm not sure what's going on there. Some sort of funky clocking issue that's just slightly off that the old-fashioned analog monitor can handle, but the LCD monitor can't. I don't know what's going on there. Now for all you scanline junkies out there, let's take a look at all the different video modes this thing can do. This is a color with scan lines, kind of sort of makes it look like a really old-fashioned TV. You got green with scan lines. You've got white monochrome with scan lines. You got green again with scan lines. I don't know what the difference between those two modes are, but there seem to be 2 different green modes in there. One actually looks like it might be like a TV emulation mode, and the other one's a true green screen monochrome emulation. Now there's color without scan lines, green without scan lines, monochrome no scan lines, and green again no scan lines. So for everybody out there who wants just about any different mode they might want, this thing's got them all. You want your brand new pretty LCD to look like an old-fashioned green screen CRT. There you go. You can make it do it. Final thoughts? This is a well-designed piece of hardware. When you combine the awesome color display with the fact that you can retire all of your old TVs, it makes a great option for both upgrade and for preservation. I have only 2 concerns. First, you must own a Ramworks 3 card in order to get use out of the adapter, which might be a barrier to entry to some. Secondly, the problems I experienced on LCD monitors when in double high-resolution monochrome made using the card distracting when I needed to use that mode. To ensure the problem wasn't my monitor, I did try it on 4 separate LCD monitors of different brands, eras, and resolutions. All had the same problem. Oddly enough, 2 CRT monitors I tried did not have that problem. I think the card needs a tweak or 2 to the clock timing in a future revision, but otherwise it does an excellent job. Well, that's all for today's episode. Is there something new you'd like me to review in my next video? Maybe you'd like to see an old computer from my museum. Let me know in the comments. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button, leave me a comment, or subscribe. And remember, 8 bits are all you need.